Friends, welcome to the show. This is episode 30 of Let's Talk Marketing, the varietal convo. I always have to think about that one because it's a word that I think I made up, but I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere. It's a varietal convo show, where more than anything else is an educational show where we talk about all things marketing as it pertains to film, entertainment, sometimes entrepreneurialism, marketing concepts, and education, and then also, as a whole, friendship. I'm your host, as always, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner. I'm Sean M. Smith. It's good to have you guys here as people begin to file into the show, and you're coming in. Thank you for guys being here. As always, I know that Tuesday at 2:15 is a weird time for a show, and one day we will, in fact, change it. But we have not gotten to that place. We're working on it. I wanted to let you know, as always, thank you for hanging out with us every single week to talk about all of these rad things that keep me up at night, making me worry about the state of marketing. This week we have a fun one. I hope you guys saw it in the events. We are going to be talking about one of my favorite concepts, which is reactive and or adaptive marketing, otherwise known as what I call the slingshot. I actually started using the word the slingshot and the principle of it long before I even knew that there was a concept. So I don't know if the concept was out there, and it probably was long before I even existed in the world of marketing. But to be fair, you've got to do what you got to do to get done what you want to get done. So what I need right now, though, from you guys is if you can hear me and everything is good, do me a favor and just pop a 1 in the comments section of whatever thing you're at. So if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, just drop a 1 in the comments of whatever you're on so I can see it in StreamYard. And I know that you're not having issues with audio and that I can proceed without fear that you can hear me A-OK. And again, welcome to episode 30 of Let's Talk Marketing, the varietal convo show where we talk marketing for film and entertainment, entrepreneurialism, marketing, I don't know, educational concepts I said before, and then also friendship. We're building a strong relationship amongst ourselves. Let me get over here and see if I can say hello to our friends. Guys, if you're here, if you're first time here and you're Facebookers, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. It's going to be a big blue button. Hit that blue button. So should you choose to put any comments on today's show that I can use in the broadcast, it'll include your handsome or beautiful face. Oh, and if you are a veteran of the show or a veteran StreamYarder, someone like you, Ruthie Bowles, will know. Hello, I haven't heard from you in forever, and that's because I have been lacking on being involved in the community. Hello. It's good to hear from you. Everyone is coming out en masse today. We've got people on YouTube. We've got people hanging out on Twitch. It's going to be awesome today. It's great. It is great. But yes, Ruthie, thank you for being here. Thank you all for hanging out so far. Today, as I said before, Ethan coming in clutch, coming in hot. Man knows what a man needs. I sent him an email this morning because he asked me a question that I forgot to send back to him an answer. He comes in like a champion. Thank you for that, my friend. Wanted to say, again, today we are talking about the Slingshot, which is probably watching in VR. If you could film any of that, that would be super cool for me to use anywhere. I would love that. If you can't, that's okay too. I just would absolutely love to see what that looks like, because me in VR doing VR-y things and like just being like a screen bent in the background would be dope. We're talking about the Slingshot. So it's adaptive and or reactive marketing, which is a way that you can get continued or prolonged placement from a larger scale environment when you don't get it by creating fear of missing out. So if someone, let's say a larger placement says, hey, or let's say Rolling Stone, let's stop saying placement. Say Rolling Stone says, hey, we're not interested, or just ghosts you. You can come back to them later with something bigger. So this is what we're going to do today. I have been working with a band named Outride. Okay. It is, in fact, my cousin's band. It's been an even swap for marketing information as far as how I've been working. I've been working on a project for him. He's been helping me with some stuff as well, too. It's just been a part-time thing. But today I told him I was going to pull the curtain back to show what we do. So if you guys want to go on an adventure, throw up a one in the comments if you want to see a little bit of what I would do for him, start to finish, of an early stage Slingshot, because I literally, with a band with only a single, this is what I've had to do so far. And it's been a bit of a nightmare. Not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I've had to work a band with no traction, no not panache, no backing, nothing. I've had only label stuff, so this was new. And God bless Jonathan, but it's been hard. So, and there's been new tactics and new strategies and new things to adapt. And I know it's not 100% applicable to film, but the principles maybe. So we can do that. But what we're going to do first is I'm going to go over to my deck, which actually sounded really dirty, and I apologize for it. I'm going to come over here to my deck, and it's going to add stream. Boom. Let's talk marketing number 30. This is 30 consecutive weeks. I went on a 2-week vacation and still gave you 2 weeks of content. I really hope that you guys liked that 2 weeks of content, because it had me showing you that I no longer have hair. It's growing back in real slow, but it's got this weird patchy thing going on that I'm a little self-conscious about. It didn't look like that before, but I just must not have noticed that that was what was going on. I guess I didn't know. Irish saddle, I knew about that, but not this. So maybe there's a special comb. So what we have to do today is some interesting stuff. So we're going to go, let's get the cursor over to the right page. Boop, boop. So this is all about the Slingshot today. And you can't really see it from this view, but this dude hits a basket from a distance. Let me blow it up. Boop. He hits it way over here. He sinks it, and then he gets real excited. I have 2 Slingshot gifts, and that's no, I am not using Prezi. I am actually using Google Sheets, I think. I literally just use Google Sheets. And again, that's what we do here on Let's Talk Marketing. We get creative when we talk about our concepts. And I hope everyone does stick around, because this is literally the concept that every time it comes up on the show, it's the one that people email me about after the fact. They're like, hey, can you ever give a demo of this? And then they make the call and they're like, I would love to sit down. And now I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. So, but yeah, no, I don't use Prezi. I used Prezi in Miami at the agency I worked at for presentations. And I have so many, I have so much PTSD, and this is the God's honest truth, from presentations breaking and us having to download it and then work it like a PowerPoint. I can't. And it's just nightmare. And like how the owner of the agency really liked it, and just him saying the word Prezi and how much I dislike that man. So like, it's a lot. Yeah. All I did was put in a GIF. Yeah. Look, boop, 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 boop. It's just a GIF. That's all I'm doing. And I'm making it with the StreamYard. Now, not a shame. It's their loss, not mine. Not worried about it. I'm okay. I got problems. Like I said, you talk about scars, not wounds. It's a scar. It's a scar. Anyway, let's talk about the band Outride. Here's a little bit about Outride. First off, I mentioned a second ago, they're a current client of mine. They're in my overall dossier of clients. Right now, I've kept the client roster really small, because I want to have time in the summer to spend it with my wife. I want to have time to spend with my son when he gets out of school. I don't want to be like completely crushed. And it's been really nice actually to have that flexibility this summer. But yes, Outride are a current client. Their music itself, this is the cover for the single, In Our Hands. This is actually influenced by pop culture of the 80s and 90s. They're like a synthwave, indie electronica sound. I can't play them right now. I would play them, but I don't have a signed waiver. And if I did play them right now, Facebook could take me down immediately from my stream. So I don't want that to happen. But the drummer is my cousin Jonathan, and the band is anchored by him. Chris Stubbs is the multi-instrumentalist and lead singer of the band. Check them out. Outride on Spotify. They're also on Apple Music and anywhere else you can find them. So that is the gist of the band. Let me pull back to me. Yes, that was the right choice. Let me go back, because what we're going to do is we're going to start moving into tools. So the idea here was the band wanted to be on Pitchfork. So we're going to go to Pitchfork. Actually, you know what? We'll go to Stereo Gum, because Stereo Gum was the one that meant the most to them. And I'll put Stereo Gum back in. So Stereo Gum was where they wanted to be. They wanted to be on an indie music site that wasn't pop. Was going to be leaning towards maybe a rock sensibility. Wanted to kind of say like, hey, listen, this is something that was cool, something that was cutting edge, because their sound kind of blends between indie electronica and rock. There's vocoders and synthesizers on vocals, so it's very interesting sound. It's nothing obnoxious. It's very hook laden, which is cool. It's very cool music. And this was the lead single. We were just putting it out there to kind of test what everyone would think. And so we're like, well, let's see if Stereo Gum would feel this. So I actually went out and I sent them an email. Not in the reviews section. Come on, close. Oh my God, I clicked the wrong thing. So in the contact us down here, this is what you would normally do in order to load the Slingshot. So you go contact us, Sean Smith, your email. We'll do ignore the emails that you see there, Sean at weareongen.com. Select topic from pull down. We'll do editorial subject. Now for 1 second, I'm going to pull this off because I have to pull a quote from my drive, because I do have a press release. Now here, coming back over to the presser, on this page here, I actually crafted a press release for the band for the single. Now the album date release, while the album was being mixed and mastered, Jonathan actually and Chris are both audio engineers. Jonathan does the audio engineering for my podcast with my son, Potato Salad Marmalade. But he actually also works at the University of Idaho and does engineering for all of the audio events for the University of Idaho, but also has worked at clubs around New York City, and then also has done multiple albums. Okay, so now having said that, they were mixing and mastering their album. While that was done, we wanted to get this stuff out in front so we could get some SEO for the band's name, just Outride, because there was a video game called Outriders. So we wanted to make sure that we were in front of Outriders being a thing, right? We wanted to make sure that we were taking care of, like, this was there. We wanted to be in front of it just so that we were able to take care of that piece, of not necessarily trademark, as I wouldn't say TM, but, just kind of be there in the space, knowing that's our name. We do want to kind of grab a piece of that space. I'm saying it's space a lot. So what I built was this press release here. This is the album art that we'd had created. The name of the band, name of the single. Normally, if you had an album, you'd have the name of the album, not in quotes. And then you'd have release date for the album, and then link to wherever streaming services it's available, or download service, or if it's on like Bandcamp or whatever the service. But I had Spotify and Apple. I wrote this up just kind of in a tongue-in-cheek, not really tongue-in-cheek, but it is kind of tongue-in-cheek, because there's a really funny line that John and I laughed about it was as if a neon god clad in leather and lace cut from the 80s dove into their hearts and possessed their every decision on one very fateful night. Moving fingers over strings and keys, slamming sticks and skins, everything made perfect sense. It's like it's hammy was, I think, the word that we were looking for, because it's not meant to be taken extremely seriously. This is almost like think of the Ninja Turtles video game. Like it's this is literally the name of the album that's coming out is Big Apple 3 AM, which is the actual level name of a game in the arcade game for the Ninja Turtles in Time. So like the idea was that we're not taking it so seriously, but at the same time, we wanted to let them know that there's an artistic idea behind it. And the idea was that, like, hey, listen, this is fun. This is cheesy. They're not dressing up like Viking warlords. They're not coming out in leather and lace. But the idea is the music, you're going to hear it, and there's a distinct sound that you're going to go, I get it. Yeah, I get it. So this game, there's my number. Leave it alone. don't call that. And if you do, that's fine. I'll ignore it anyway. You can leave me a message. I'll call you back. So we would take that type of message from here. I would be like, outride shares in our hands in preparation for Big Apple 3 a.m. debut release. All right, just so the idea is we're giving them all the information right off the bat. So this is what we would do. We'd reach out, we put in the message, right? And it'd be like, hey guys, I'm working with a band, Outride, that has a killer track that I think you might really dig. Would love to get your feedback on it as we are preparing for, come on, Johnny, or the release of the LP in a few weeks time. More immediacy, few weeks time. So a few weeks time. So we got that going on, and check it out here. And I'm going to go to Spotify, and I think I'm still logged into their account. I hate that that's doing that. All right, I'll just go to the press release. I think that was probably the easiest way to do it. I should have done it that way the first time. All right, so we'll go here. Please let me know if you have any questions. Would love to work more with you. Now, okay, now hit send. Now, I do not expect Stereogum. I used to work with Scott and Amrit, who ran Stereogum. They founded Stereogum. They are no longer with Stereogum because the site got really big. And if I'm not mistaken, they were acquired when I first moved to Miami. So we're talking like 2012. This may not even go through. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this didn't go through. So anyway, this is even better. I would have to find that information another way. So let's say this doesn't work. Let's say this does not go through. Let's say this doesn't work. This email doesn't go through. We never hear back. So what do we do next? Right. Well, the next thing we have to do then is we got to load the Slingshot. We have to find a way to do some adaptive marketing and be like, man, we gotta get these guys to care because these guys clearly didn't care. So the next thing we do is we gotta take this press release. Remember this guy over here. This guy over here, this big Bertha. I call it Big Bertha because that's like the name of the truck in Call of Duty, right? All of this guy here. Okay, so we have all of that. We're going to take this press release here, and we're going to load the thing with it. Now, what I found when I was in the process of doing this exact exercise, I got to move over to the other side, was that a lot of these sites, the smaller sites, I built a list. So I went through and I'm crazy. So I used to build lists. I used to be a list builder, and I go through the websites, and I didn't scrape. I used no technology. This is 100% true. When I worked at Wired Set in New York, when I worked in ABNA in Miami, and when I started to work again in Jellyfish in Baltimore, what I did best was I would work hand in hand with an intern or a coordinator or someone lower on the totem pole, and we would put together a list. So you would go to a site, grab the site's name, grab the site's URL, grab the site's contact information, grab the site's email address, and then you make a list, and you end up with 50 of them. And they end up looking. I'll show you in a sec. It'll take me a minute because I have it up. Music. I think I made it. I'm gonna pull it up because this time when I did the list, I didn't put the names. So let me show you. Put it in. This time I didn't put site names. I just literally bounced through and went as quick as I could. This is literally a list I made of over. If you can see this list, this was it's like over 500, I think. Yeah, it's 512 sites. So I made a list over the course of 1 week. I went and made scraped. We'll say scraped. I went to these sites and I grabbed their contact info, the one that was the PR outreach email, and made 500 sites. And then from there, what did I do? Does anyone know what I did? If anyone knows what I did, drop a comment right now. I will give you 15 whole seconds to tell me what I did. Yeah, but I did it manually. So I did 500 of them one at a time. I thought about trying to find a way to automate them, but the problem with automating the process, no problem. If I found a way to automate the process, there's too much error. I knew that if I did it by hand and just literally bit the bullet on how bad it was going to be to do this, but how worthwhile it was going to be, because this would now be a very valuable list. I would now, 512. So I knew that if I bit the bullet and just did it, what was going to end up happening was I was going to have something very, very valuable. I was going to have resources, quality over that quantity. And here's the thing. So I am going to now show you. I took an email, put together an email. Hang on. StreamYard sharing a window. That's great that you're sharing a window. We'll stop sharing for a second so I can get to my email address. Good Lord. Good Lord. All right. So let me. Now, what I did was I'm going to move my email inbox over. And I'm going to share my email. Show window. Edison mail. Yeah, cool. That's the right one. All right, so here's what I did. And I'm going to let you see my billing. You can see me. It said, thanks for your payment. Yeah, that's okay. And I sent this email here. Oh, we'll make it bigger? Okay, that's cool. That's great. Oh, here we go. Pop out. So look at this. Let's see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Hang on. Give me 1 sec while I do this. Because for some reason it's not showing. It's not closing that up. There we go, but no. Okay, here we go. Now let's see if it'll show. That's really weird. Stop sharing. Share screen. Share. We'll do that one. We'll share that one. Yeah, it was a good email, right? So it's a really good email. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm good at the email. I'm good at it. So anyway, this is simple approach. You're reaching out to someone you do not know. You got 500 emails to send. Now, bear in mind, I did send them in small bulks. I'm not gonna lie; these were BCC'd because you have to. You absolutely cannot send 500 one at a time. I already did the one at a time thing with this 500 list. But Hi, I'm Sean Anjan. Hope you're well. Reaching out today about a new band I'm working with, Outride. They're based in the Pacific Northwest and have a synth-heavy 80s evocative sound. It works for fans of Stranger Things and Stranger Things aesthetic to Future Island stuff. They have a really diverse palette, and the upcoming album is great. Today, I have a single to check out, and I wanted to see if you'd be down to share a single and a bit of information about the band with your audience. Cool? Let me know if I can help. Any more info or contact that you'd like to have. You want to talk to them? I'd love to have you talk to them. Yeah. So, and here we go. And then there's that press release. And I made sure to put the embed in there at the minute. So then I have a lot of response from people. needless to say, I had a ton of people reaching back out. And yes, you can. So when I first started out doing outreach, especially for music outreach, because of the volume of sites, because there's a lot of music blogs, there's not a lot of film blogs. Because film is a lot more time consuming. It took literally, man, hours and hours to do outreach. It would take me an hour just to, obviously to write the thing and write the email. So about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, just to make sure everything was right. And then top it off, then you're going like one at a time. And I have smaller lists. This 500 is probably the biggest that I've had since like 2011. And I had a 50% bounce rate. A lot of the sites were gone. As far as the email boxes, once I went through, they were just toast. So, and thank you. That's the best way to do it. People used to attach them. When I used to get them when I ran my music site, I used to get email inbox press releases attached as PDFs. And they couldn't figure out why I wouldn't respond to their emails. Yeah, you're right. I could, and I would do it with a larger scale campaign. It would make perfect sense to try and do that. I think that okay. So anyone else that's still chilling around the campaign, Ruthie is bringing up, and Ruthie is a high level marketer, high level marketer, and speaks high into authenticity, radical authenticity as well. Especially, I mean, but what would be really valuable is it's as you get better at this stuff and you start to see larger returns on the process, being able to automate this stuff, you'll see greater returns, as in you'll be able to get more time. So you may not make $10,000 on an email because you're not selling something that you make $10,000 on, but what you will get is $10,000 worth of time, and you can't take that back. That's great. So good point. Yeah, and attachments, you don't open attachments ever. You cannot. And that's hard, but whatever. So send that email out. And what I started to find with this one was, let me fix my mustache. It's a little bit better. Was that people had been using two things. There are two methods. One, there's a crazy person method where they were like, give me $50 and I'll review this single, which I was like, who are you? Your site is like this big. And no, if it's that profitable to do that now, like I should have stayed in the game because my site was huge and I could have made a lot of money. Number two, the other one is there's a site called Submit Hub, which is cool. So I really hope if someone's out there, like Ethan, if you're still on, I have an idea to talk to you about that could be great to program for you. But anyway, and you submit through them the material. So you go in and basically the idea is that you buy like 10 credits. They're like $1 a piece. and then you find people that you could submit a 1 credit, 2 credit, or 3 credit to have them review your music, and they either approve to put it on your site, or they decline to put it on the site, or they can do a shout out and put it elsewhere, like on their social media or on their Spotify playlist. But it's good because it starts to get things going. So what I started to do was, as I was seeing more frustration from that version of the site, I decided to adapt, which is very important when you start to see not negative returns per se. Well, $50 is a lot. I mean, to review a single, it's not even the album. I mean, the album, and also it's like, you're not giving a genuine review. Like, I would rather you crap on my album for free than say that my song is great for $50. I would, how can you really have fans that trust your reviews if you're charging artists and all it takes is an email from a fan to figure that out and to blow your crap up? I don't get that. I don't see how that works. I literally just had in that email, if you guys had looked when my inbox was up, I had a person yesterday, I was going to say today, but it was yesterday, that wrote me back to be like, oh yeah, we have this review program. It's advertising. I'm like, that's not advertising. Like, me $1,500 to put together a packaging plan that recorded like a 1 week review and like this and this and this. And I was like, you're saying that you get 400,000, viewers a month, and you get X and Y and Z, but people are literally not, they're looking at you for free stuff. Like, they're coming for MP3s, like free MP3s. They're not coming to your site because they're looking for embeds. They're coming because Hype Machine is telling them there's a free single here, and they can grab the MP3, because that's what I did when I ran Radio Exile. I was on Hype Machine, and I was one of the top blogs on Hype Machine for that exact reason. People would come to me because of that. And that was why every single artist wanted to work with me, was because they knew that if they gave me an MP3, tons of people would come because we were top rated. So anyway, that's enough about that site. So here's the next thing. So we went into Submit Hub, and we get rejected by some sites, and I started to get creative with it, because then it was a FOMO issue, right? I'm like, listen, these guys aren't working. What can I do differently? So in Submit Hub, there's 3 options. There is, you can submit to curators, which is basically bloggers, for placement. And they have the option to do a placement on their blog, and then they can also do a placement on their blog, but also on Spotify or not Apple Music, Spotify or SoundCloud or TikTok or Instagram. So they can share their music socially. That's how they want to do things. Then there's like it's not influencers. Yeah, it's influencers is the second one. And they could be there's Google, Spotify playlisters, and TikTok influencers, and Instagram influencers. And they could have, as long as your song is in the network, you could pay them to actually do exactly what you want them to do. And they'll use the track for a particular time and do something in their stream. And it's just like, okay. It's like you could try and create something viral, which I just used words that anyone who worked in social media for as long as I have would know does not work. You cannot create something viral. It needs to happen organically. Otherwise, someone catches on and goes, hey, this started here at this place with this person that does this all the time for money. This was clearly paid for, and then it all goes away. It all gets shit on. So you can't do it. Now, and then the last is record labels inside Submit Hub. You can submit your stuff to labels, but the thing is this, it's so much money. So anyway, what are we doing? Ultimately, I realized something a little bit different about the game that I didn't have in my head years ago. So you want stereo gum. It's still sending, by the way. That stereo gum is still sending. So that means it's not going through. You want stereo gum. You want that big placement. But what you need to do, and the reason I brought up Submit Hub is I'm going to show you some stuff. You want Submit Hub because you want I had to stream. All right, can you guys see that okay? So this is Roadie Music. This is a Brazilian website that actually shared John's post. This is the band. They actually wrote them up there, Brazilian site. And Gabriel wrote them up on June 17th. He talked a little bit about the band and then posted the song from Spotify where they were available as well too. More information. Wow, and I loved it. Oh, that's very nice. This was me. I clicked wow. Clicked I love. So the idea was this. So now when I do the second, what does this have to do? Ready? What does this have to do with the goddamn slingshot, Sean? Well, this. Now, when I do the second version of the press release, I can do this part. This North American, I can put this quote in there. This North American duo has been proving to be able to be inside the mainstream game. Now I'll clean that up to look better. But right now, that is what we're doing. So there's that. Now the idea is to get quotes here. Because ultimately what I want to do is when this press release goes into the hands of, remember where I had it sitting in the email. I know Ruthie noticed it before too. Come on. Where I had it sitting in the email, it literally is right here. So it's my email, nice guy stuff, telling you what it's all about, telling you the who, what, when, where, how, right? If you want any more stuff, let you know. I'd love to have you. All right. But look, right here. It's sitting right here now. So right when you get in there, it's telling you, hey, what's going on? Good stuff. We love you. So it's there. It'll be in there for them to check out. And they'll be like, hey, there's some credibility there. And that's what I keep telling you. I actually spoke to Zach Blackwell about this maybe a week ago. I know I emailed with him this morning as well too when we were following up about some stuff this morning. But that's the thing. Like this is credibility. Like even if this doesn't say Rolling Stone. This literally says someone cared enough to talk about me and make this quote. Now, will a person 10 times out of 10, right? You got 10 chances. Are they going to look and see who Roadie Music is? 7 times out of 10, probably not. Probably not. They will just probably look and go, you know what? That is cool that site said that. 3 times? I will. I'm going to look. Do you want to know why? Because I want to make sure that it's not Jonathan's cousin, Sean Smith, or to make sure that it's not Chris Stubbs' uncle, Johnny Stubbs. Just want to make sure that it's not their family talking about it. So you load that thing back up. What's the next thing? They do, let's say, a podcast, which they didn't do in this instance. Let's say they sat down with altmusic.com and they do a thing and they talk about this thing is still loading. But here, instead, I wasn't able to get those converted yet because, again, remember I said it's a frustrating process with a band with no backing. So I'm trying to finesse my way into these conversations, meet these people because there's 512 of them, and I think at least half of them bounced back with dead email addresses. Instead, I don't think this is in there anymore because this is a while ago. We were in the Global Media Pop playlist on Spotify, which had 1,200 likes. That was good for exposure. We were in Sensei's list here. This list here only had 30 likes. It was smaller, but who cares? Every little bit of exposure is helpful. Music Fashion Blog. This one was funny. I did this on a whim, but like, look, this is a Instagram. This is an Instagram story, right? Yeah. Guitars are better. This is IG story as well. This one was really good. He focuses primarily, obviously, on guitars, so their feed is full of guitar parts and guitar stuff, but their stories is littered with this stuff. And we were in there. So Hunter Gatherer Cooking. This one was really cool. He's actually out on some dragon, which I thought I wrote him and told him this was like really, really cool that he picked this. Not because I had no part in this. And also, coincidentally, Portishead Lake grounds. So if anyone's into Portishead or British indie rock or pop, that's what it is. And then Anna James just did a one as well too that the guys are in right now. Support small indie artists with 112 likes. So she just actually put one together, and the boys are right here. So, and we're getting ready to launch the next single for it. So that'll be good. So what does that do? What does all of that do? Well, here is the value of all that. Why did I do that? Well, I pivoted. The traditional tactic I realized wasn't going to work because people wanted money. I had to find a way to get exposure that would work for the band. I want to go to Stereo Gum. I want to go to Pitchfork. Pitchfork's not going to work without a larger album. So what I need to do is I need to get streams. And in order to get streams and backing, I need to work with Submit Hub and other playlisters. And I need to drive up something larger. I need to make sure that there's more notoriety for the band in the streaming community. So I'm going to work with influencers, and I'm going to work with playlisters to get more credibility and more plays for the band. I'm going to take that information. Hang on, I want to go over to my press release. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to put this note when it happens. Over 10,000 streams in 30 days. That type of thing. You see that? So when we get 30 days in of when we release the album, the idea is we're going to try and put those streams out there. I want to work on that angle. I want to load that way because traditional press wasn't paying attention. So we have to go a different way. And it's not an uncommon story right now in music that that's what happens. But sometimes I think the most important thing that we need to learn when we're marketing is this stuff is hard. We can't stop. We're already creative people. We've proven that. And we need to make sure that we pivot. And not in the Friends sort of way, because every time we say pivot, that's what's going to be in a Gen X or a millennial head is pivot. But we need to make sure that when we are in a place where we're stuck, we need to be comfortable backing up and realizing that it's not that our idea was a bad idea. It's just that our good idea just isn't working. And that's okay. It's okay to not have our good idea crush everything. In this instance, I wrote a really great press release and I wrote a great email, but I took 512 people and half of them didn't even have emails that worked anymore. Right off the bat. Incapable of emailing those people. Then half of them used Submit Hub. And then when I emailed them, 80% of those people didn't like the song. So then I had to find a different way. I had to say, all right, listen, let's turn this on its head and say, originally we were looking for X. Let's try and look for Y. Because if we want to get these smaller sites, we want to get, here's like the large sites, we want to get these guys to come back to this guy. We need to come at them with, hey guys, we're slingshotting the smaller sites by saying we got these streams. And then we're going to set up a slingshot and do some adaptive or reactive marketing by coming back to the bigger sites by saying, we have all these streams and we have these smaller sites talking about us. Yeah, sometimes these things just do not work. Ruthie Bowles for the win. And as a motorcyclist will tell you, the cops are here. The common sense police are showing up. We're both onto something. Sometimes you can't make it work. And there is a lesson for the lady. There's a lesson there if you dig deep enough. A lot of the times it's that we are so desperate to be right for some reason. I'm going to dig in on this one. That when you're desperate to be right, you need to be right. That you will not back up and see that you're not right. And you can do it differently, and maybe it won't be easy, but it can be done differently. Like I positioned myself backed up a couple days ago and saw this differently, totally differently. And a couple days ago was maybe 2 weeks, but needless to say, like, how different is this? If I told you I normally would do outreach to 50 sites and then follow up with those 50 sites, and that was the only way we would do it, and then we would get 50 placements and So like you do 50 placements and then you wrap them up and you put them in a deck. And like, no, it's a different age, man. We have streams, we have streaming music, you have top of Spotify, you have found on Spotify. You could what are you found on your actual artist page will tell you these playlists you were found on, which is valuable. Someone comes to your page and they say you were found on, that looks really valuable. You look really good. Sorry for scratching my nose for a second there. And another valuable lesson from the lady. Yes, and failure makes you feel bad. So you don't want to examine it too closely. You just missed the lesson. And it is true. And I think that because I have been doing this for 17 years, even when I get stubborn and stuck, I am comfortable taking a step back. That's why I hire people that I think are smarter than me when I work on stuff. Because I'm comfortable admitting that I'm not the best in the world at something. I'm very humble about that. But I'm also comfortable stepping back and saying, I've done this wrong before. And I need you to help me do it right so that I can also pass that lesson on to them. That, like, you need to make sure that you don't fear failure. You can't fear it. You don't need to embrace it and be like, it's the best thing in the world, because it's not. Failure sucks. But you need to learn from it. You absolutely need to. You're going to learn like crazy. And I ran an e-commerce business in 2020, just last year. I don't know if you even mentioned this on the show before, where it was making like ridiculous 5 figures amounts of money. And all of a sudden I was in debt 5 figures out of nowhere. Okay. What did you learn, Sean? Well, I needed to have someone do fulfillment. There's a lesson there. Once I scaled to a certain point, I needed help and I didn't know what to do. So live and learn. So that is the Slingshot in a nutshell. In a nutshell, woe is right and woe is crazy. And it was in less than 30 days that it started. It was crazy. What is up? Anyone, any questions on Slingshot related stuff? Want more in depth? I hope that this has answered questions. I wish there were 100 people here because I am still going to get emails about it. And maybe one day we can present this in a different way. Yeah, that's what I did in 2020. I did it for a case. I did it to have a case study for my business. And then I ran it into the ground, both the business and the case study. Thank you. I hope it was good. It's a fun time. I need music and I also need a soundboard. Yes, you're right. I will save it as a link and send it as a response to the emails. Very thirsty day. All right, so let's do this. So we're at the tail end of the show. I am going to do something crazy. I am going to dive back into. Let me see if I can pull myself back up big. My mustache is all over the place. Every time I trim the damn thing, it looks like a toddler got it with a weed whacker. I did it 2 days ago, and it just looks terrible. We need to get into words of the week. So let's make that all big. Present. All right. So the hardest part of the show is when Carter gets revenge on me for all the dad things I have to do during the week. And one of them, words of the week. Oh, coincidentally, I actually put the lyric in our hands because I don't know the rest of the words to the song. Because to be honest with you, Chris sings through not the vocoder, but there's a treatment over the vocals, and I can't. I'm old, and I can't hear it correctly. Can't hear it. So I'm old. So Words of the Week is a segment of the show where Carter versus me. Carter, my 7-year-old son, goes into the deck after I finish it last night. He comes in this morning and he puts in from random, try again, from random word generator, 3 words that he enjoys to try and trip me up. The idea is that one, I have to either define them based against my career, use them in a sentence that has something to do with marketing, or 3, make them not sound stupid as they come out of my mouth. I get scored by you guys on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being amazing, 5 being terrible, on how I did. If he wins this segment, he gets dessert tonight. That's the summertime rule. It's put into place. Everyone's been cruel and been giving him dessert so far. If which is fine because he was going to get it anyway. But whatever. Words of the week. Here we go. And by the way, anyone just coming in now, you missed Slingshot, but per Ruthie, I will be able to give you a link to it after the show so that you can watch what we did and what I put together in perpetuity. I love that. I wanted to use the word in perpetuity. Here we go. Words of the week. First word up. Oh, God, I hope this doesn't suck. I hate them so much. Organ. Great. All right. I like to think of something very gross when I think of organs. I usually think of like a kidney, but I don't want to use the word kidney. All right, we'll go vital. So one of your vital organs is your heart. And one of the most important things that you can do when you are working on a campaign is give as much attention to the health and fitness of your overall campaign. To take the time to put together I should get a timer. Put together the time and fitness of your. I'm out. He got me with Oregon. Mark it down, Ethan. If you're here, mark it down. I don't even know. Ethan may not even be here. He's been quiet all show. I don't even know. He just timed at the beginning. Oregon, I'm out. I think I just lost this whole thing already. Cattle. Ooh, good. Here's the thing. For the longest time, people have marketers and advertisers and publicists, even though marketers are the big and publicists are people that work with marketing and advertising is part of marketing. We talked about that last week. Have treated consumers as cattle, as people that we can herd. And the problem is this. People are individuals with needs and wants. And part of the social media revolution that we've seen is they've been able to dictate themselves what they want and what they need from big corporate or from an environment where they could buy and purchase. The decision has been theirs now. They're not being swayed by television and newspaper and print and billboard the way that they used to. So traditional doesn't work the way that it used to, regardless of what we're being told by people that work in that industry, and they say the efficacy rate is much lower than it used to be. We need to adopt the fact that as a whole, the touch points for social consumers are more valuable now than any point in the history of marketing. They are not cattle. They are the consumer, and they are leading us as sheep. Now, we are always going to constantly be behind them and the trends, and seeing things like social media is for memification, gift culture will continue to prove that we do not run the show. We try and get in front of it, and cattle have organs. Do I get credit? Do I get credit for using that? All right, and let's do this last one. Much better, but here we go. Midnight. I really think my son put this in there because he wants to try and stay up to midnight again. One time he stayed up until 1 a.m. after the ball dropped. I think this was 4 years ago, and he had limitless energy. I bring this up because the next day I had to go to work. No, I'm just kidding. I think that the time has come to finally admit that bosses that don't think that we can work from home and do this permanently, this whole working from home permanently thing, need to see it's 5 minutes to midnight on their careers, because right now the people that are back in their offices because they were told they had to come back in post-pandemic, they're already looking for new jobs because they're emailing me looking for work. So let me just offer that it's really, really 5 minutes to midnight on that workforce, and that people will in fact be working remotely even more than ever before. So I have not read The Marketing Rebellion, but this was it. Those were all three. All right, so those were all three. So we had Oregon, cattle, and midnight. 1 to 5. You got to score me. 1 is incredible. There's no way there should be a 1. 5 is terrible. If there's a 3, Carter and I tie and he gets dessert. But if there's a 4 and a 5, he gets it. So let's see. What do you guys got? Give me scores. Circle takes a square. No, let's see. What do you got? 1 to 5. 1 to 5, guys. Oh man. Fun times. Ruthie, I will definitely check it out. I trust any recommendations you make. So that's a high compliment. Just remember that. Let's see. 2.5. First was bad. First was terrible, dude. I had no idea what to do. Oregon? The hell, Oregon. And I say Oregon, and it sounds like Oregon because of my accent. Oregon. Right? You hear it? Oregon? Yeah. Second was great. Okay was good. Okay. We did it. You know, I did it. Second was great. I think that second one should be. I think there should be a link sent just to the second one. I should send it to my son and be like, "Hey, remember that time we were on another podcast because of me? That was because of me. And also, by the way, I did this too. Take that, and we'll rewind it back. Ludicrous. I don't remember the rest of it, but I know he does booties and clapping. I think that part happens. What else we got? Who else has a score for me? Come on, there's a whole bunch of you here. You got a whole bunch. I can't. 2.5. Either way, I'm going to be fair. The kid is getting dessert. We got these amazing lemonade bars from Aldi. I'm going to say they're delicious, to quote Carter, because they're made with real lemon. He said they smell terrible, but they taste amazing. So that was well worth the purchase. My neck's hurting like crazy because I'm old and my head is really large. There's like no neck. See it? No neck. No neck, but 55-pound head. You're entitled. You have kids. They're going to do that in the summertime. Mine is at camp. Thank goodness. Also, Ethan, respond now here in the show. Did you get my email? And did you watch Chinatown? 2 questions. It's been a week. Email, Chinatown. Chinatown is literally streaming right now, I think, on Netflix. Have you watched it? Call people out. In the meantime, while I'm calling people out, let's see what's going on. Oh, you know where to find me, people. On Facebook, I'm Sean Michael Smith, because Sean M. Smith is a woman who, the day that they made it possible to grab everything, she just took it. And when I offered her $5,000 for it, when I had that kind of money, she didn't take it. She didn't bite it. So whatever. Anyway, Twitter, Sean M. Smith. Today I'm talking about Oasis and Wonderwall. On Clubhouse, I'm Sean M. Smith. I've yet to use it. I blame myself. I literally go on and listen, and I don't talk. And Ruthie probably doesn't like that. Instagram, S222. Twitch, also S222. On YouTube, I'm Sean Smith 22. Capital S, capital S. There's another Sean Smith 22. Doesn't make sense that can happen, but whatever there is. Also, podcast, potatosaladmarmalade.com. Tonight, we start recording the new version of the show. We chopped it all up and made it different. We're very excited about the new presentation. It will be out this Friday. For your enjoyment. You will see it everywhere across my Facebook and social pages. So let's take it. And what am I going to do? Here we go. Oh, nope, not that. I wanted to do this most important thing, guys. Everyone that comes to the show, if you haven't had it with me, gets a 45-minute chat. Just want to talk. I want to see if there's anything I can do to help you get unstuck in the process that you're having for your film, movie, television show, program, album, whatever. Let's just talk. I want to bro it up. Go.onesub.com/Sean M. Smith. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. And I'm excited to chat when we can. So feel free to reach out. We can do that when you want. But in the meantime, I do have a distinct speaking pattern. Yeah, I do. It's the radio guy in me. And also because I'm thinking about 3 screens. This is a problem. So if I had another person like running the screen, I would think a little bit less about it, I think. But that being said, who knows? So we are. Also, I wanted to put up the haha. The haha makes sense. Oh, Twitch. Something's wrong with Twitch. Oh no. Oh no, something went wrong with Twitch. That stinks. All right, guys. Well, that is it for this week. That is episode 30. 30 consecutive weeks. I have not done 30 consecutive weeks of anything since, well, actually, I was going to say college, but I'm married. So I've done 30 consecutive weeks of marriage and parenting. So let's take those aside. I haven't done 30 consecutive weeks of anything since college. That shows you my commitment to you. In the meantime, what I need to say is thank you all for showing up. We'll be back next week at the exact same time. Thank you so much. Woohoo. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next week.